When we started Fight Like a Girl, we had absolutely no idea what we're getting ourselves into and how far this was going to go. It was just an idea that we had that we decided to run with about women empowering women. And it's been an incredible journey.
I remember walking into the dojo the first time. I thought I was doing a boot camp class, and it ended up being a karate class, and I really connected to the sport of karate itself. But it was quite a journey just getting to the black belt. I mean, you'll understand getting your black belt as well, that test, it's a tough test.
It was brutal.
So when you walk into a dojo at the age of 42 years old, it's incredibly difficult because you've got to overcome so many fears, fear of failure, fear of getting hurt. I mean, that was just such a big one. And then work your way through and then going through that test, which takes a year to prepare for. So that was pretty difficult. But I think the biggest takeaway that probably we've both had was how empowered we felt afterwards. And I think that was where the Fight Like a Girl really started from, was how do we empower other women who don't have the time, firstly because they've got children or homes or, most dojos run in the evenings. How did they empower themselves without having to go through the entire process that we went through?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that is where it started, and it's just grown and grown and it's grown from there.
I think the work evolved beyond what we imagined through a lot of research, a lot of understanding and a lot of questioning. We're chatting to women themselves and asking what they needed, what they wanted. And then it did evolve, because when you speak to a woman, you hear about their kids being bullied at school. Then when we went and did corporate seminars in self-defense, we understood that a lot of the struggles were in communications within the corporate world.
100%. And do you remember when we ran that anti-kidnapping course back in 2019?
It was,
yeah. So over the years, we've kind of adapted and evolved based on the feedback that we've been getting.
So we evolved from that point of view, rather than having a strict regime of this is what we want, this is the big picture. It did definitely just evolve on that side.
It's just been a natural progression.
It has, absolutely a natural progression. But it's been pretty smooth, actually, the progression, which has been wonderful. So we've been able to adapt, I think, as instructors to that evolving landscape of Fight Like a Girl.
In my conversations with decision makers, companies, and at schools, I realized that there's been a really big disconnect between the Fight Like a Girl brand and what we now stand for. Because when we started, we were originally Women Empowering Women. And then next thing, we started offering self-defense seminars to companies where men were included as well. And then it was schools where we were working with boys. So it was no longer just Women Empowering Women. And then the last thing that we've added is the psychological safety in the workplace training. And there's this huge disconnect between instructors who are able to teach leaders how to better communicate and create safety versus women teaching self-defense to women. So it became necessary that because we have evolved in what it is that we're offering, so our brand needed to evolve to demonstrate everything that we now have to offer.
I think so. I think you also got to go back to the concept of Fight Like a Girl when we started it. People used to laugh at us, especially our senseis, because they all said, handbag hitting, hair pulling and scratching and biting. But the fact is, I'm 5'1", I'm quite short. So how do you fight a 6'5" guy? You have to adapt your fighting skills. So Fight Like a Girl was really about empowering yourself with your own strength to fight from that level. I'm not as strong or as tall or as agile and probably as fit as some of the younger guys that we were fighting. So we literally had to adapt our fighting styles. Fight Like a Girl was started out as just a self-defense and self-empowerment program, but it definitely has evolved into a safety-oriented space where it's how do we pick up on the red flags?
100%. So for me, Fight Like a Girl has always meant uncovering your innate strengths and using those to your advantage, using those to protect yourself, to stay safe, to move yourself out of dangerous situations. Fight Like a Girl has now just become flag. We're not losing that at all, but now it's also about identifying red flags in every facet of your life, whether it's in the workplace, at school, on the streets, wherever. It's all about identifying red flags and taking action to stay safe.
think the bigger mission is just to bring awareness to people's safety, that you can empower yourself. You don't have to be a victim.
The bigger mission is really empowering humans to be safe, because when you have a sense of safety, when you feel safe, you're a happier, healthier human. You can thrive in life, you can, at your best, you just go through life generally happier, healthier, and more productive. For me personally, is for us to empower 100,000 people in the next 5 years, at least. If we can do more than that, that would be incredible.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. And I think empowerment, I love the word empowerment. It just means it doesn't matter who you are. You can be a 5-year-old child, you can be a 70-year-old, 80-year-old person. Just having the skills and the tools to be able to empower someone. And it might just be one sentence that ends up changing their thinking dynamic or their psychological understanding of something, and that changes the way they see life, and they suddenly no longer a victim to something, that they've empowered themselves to step out of that space and to go out there and be a bigger person on that.
100%. It's actually really personal for me because of my history and all of the things that I went through. There are so many things that I wish I knew as a young woman that I now know, that had I known those things back then, could have completely transformed my life. Yet, certain things like karate, like empowering myself, has had such a profound impact on my life and how I'm now able to navigate life. I really am just a generally happier, healthier human who is able to communicate, and I'm not afraid to use my voice and to stand for what I believe in and to set boundaries and so on. And that is something that is missing in so many places, in so many people's lives. So the more people we can impact, where we are helping them to create that sense of safety for themselves, to help them uncover their voices, speak their truth, stand up for what they believe in, I think the better the world is going to be.
And it doesn't matter whether you're a housewife or whether you're a CEO, it doesn't matter. It's about standing in that space of authenticity and empowerment, saying, this is who I am and I'm proud of who I am, and I stand with this incredible strength, and my boundaries are in place, and I understand my limitations. Fight like a girl. It started off as being mainly directed towards women, without a doubt. It was literally about empowering women. However, it has evolved, and we've also realized that it's not just women who are struggling.
No, absolutely.
And it's particularly psychologically and emotionally. Many men are struggling as well.
They are. If you think about how a lot of men were brought up, boys don't cry, men mustn't show any kind of weakness. And it's created this kind of culture within men where they're not allowed to show vulnerability, which means that they're not showing who they really are. So it's also, all of this work that we're doing is really for everyone. It doesn't matter if you are a man or a woman, if you are gay or lesbian or trans, or you fit any other kind of gender profile. This is for everyone, about standing in who you are, your authenticity, and not being afraid to just be yourself.
Communication is all interactive. So the skills of learning body language, how do we read body language? How do we have a conversation, a tough conversation with someone? And those are skills we're not taught at school, unfortunately. You know, we're taught to regurgitate facts, and schools are really great for certain things, but we're not taught to communicate effectively. And I think in the culture as well of cell phones, we're disconnecting at a rapid rate from learning to communicate effectively. I'm watching your body language as we speak, you know, and learning to work with that in society, and more we're being disconnected from that.
Yeah.
So this now, I think, encompasses all of society.
Yeah, it really does. I was really, really torn about whether or not we should go ahead with this rebrand, because Fight Like a Girl has meant so much to so many people over the years. But it's not about ending something, it's about the beginning of something completely new. If you are a corporate leader, a teacher, a parent, anyone who is wanting to create a more inclusive, safe space in your environment, please reach out to us, have a look at our website, flagacademy.co.za, and see how we can help you bring this culture of safety into your environment.